everybody. My name's Chloe, and welcome to ChatGPA. This is a podcast talking about realistic mental health care for real-life college students. Whether you're an undergraduate or a graduate student, we're all busy, and things can be hectic and crazy with classes and exams and hanging out with friends and all the stuff that goes on in college. And with all of those things that we're up to, sometimes it can be a little intimidating or scary or overwhelming to try and also take care of our mental health on top of that. And so that's what this podcast is for, trying to make mental health care manageable and easy. And so today I'd like to talk with you guys about cleaning, organizing, that sort of thing. And I get that this whole cleaning and doing chores thing might not be the most interesting topic in the world, but it is surprisingly important for taking care of our mental health. I've absolutely learned this one the hard way, because cleaning and picking up after myself, making sure things are nice in my space doesn't come supernaturally to me. I don't pick up things automatically, or I have to remind myself, oh, okay, I need to do the dishes tonight, I need to do that. And so I've definitely lived in both ways with keeping my space a wreck and keeping it clean. And it's actually surprising how much, keeping our spaces, our dorms or apartment clean and organized matters for our mental health and our grades. There's one really important thing I realized about this whole cleaning and doing chores thing, is that mental health, my mental health, can affect the way my surroundings, my apartment or my dorm looks, and vice versa. The way my apartment or dorm looks affects my mental health. Whenever you're stressed out, you tend to focus on whatever you're stressing out about. I know I do. And then cleaning or picking up my socks off the floor, putting my shoes back the way they need to go, or making my bed that morning, it doesn't seem nearly so important whenever I'm stressed out about something else. And so I let it fall to the wayside. I don't deal with it. I don't make my bed. I don't pick up my shoes. And so my space can get messy just because I'm having more stress than usual, or a whole lot of emotions going around, and cleaning just isn't my priority right now. But doing that to myself and keeping myself in a messy environment is not the greatest thing ever for mental health. A messy space can lead to stress, anxiety, difficulty concentrating, even relationship strain with the other people that, your roommates or maybe your family, depending on your living situation while you're at college. It can affect a whole lot of things. One of the biggest and most important things that having a clean dorm or apartment, whatever kind of living space you have, is focus, especially if you're working or studying in your dorm or apartment. It's let's say you're studying in your dorm, you're studying at your desk, and to your left you have an old McDonald's Dr. Pepper cup, and to your right your bed is unmade and your stuffed animals are on the floor. Maybe not all of us have stuffed animals, but I do. There's no shame in it. I love mine. Anyway, and yesterday's clothes are laying at the foot of your bed, or some old dishes from a snack you had a couple hours back whenever you started studying is also on your desk. There's so many things going on in your environment and your field of vision, clutter on your desk, everything else that whenever you turn your head you see more mess around you. And having too many things going on in your field of vision can actually mess up and distract your processing capacity, your ability to focus on one task at a time. It's each piece of an unorganized mess is more stimulus for your brain. And whenever you're working at your desk trying to study or concentrate, you're trying to focus on whatever class you're studying for, whatever essay you're trying to write. That's what you need to focus on right then. But the mess in your field of vision, it's distracting. Even if you don't notice it consciously, it also distracts in a subconscious way. And so having like a clean, orderly, whatever organized looks like for you, it can help your brain focus on whatever you're trying to do right then without subconsciously getting distracted by everything that's going on around you. And having too much clutter in your dorm or apartment, it can actually disrupt your sleep quality. There's a study done on this where people with a cluttered environment sleep worse and have poorer sleep quality compared to people who don't have a cluttered environment, which it's actually really interesting and kind of emphasizes how important having a clean environment is. I didn't know this before I started like researching up some things for this podcast, but I'm like, I really need to sleep. Good sleep is really important for your mental health and your GPA. And so if I can make my sleep better by being cleaner than I was before, then I want to do it. I mean, I've got a whole podcast before talking about how important sleep is. And whenever you're more focused, you do better on whatever your assignment you're working on. Whether that's an essay or studying, your brain can take in more information and store it better if you're focused. And your brain can just overall do so much better with learning, studying, emotionally regulating, all sorts of good stuff whenever you sleep well too. And another thing that cleaning and having a clean living space does for you is that it actually can help you feel more in control over your life. And it's something I didn't really think about this before now, but it makes sense. Clutter is actually linked with procrastination and a lower quality of life. And we all want a high quality of life, right? That's what we're striving for. And whenever things are organized around you and things kind of feel structured, or at least in the way you like your surroundings to be, whatever it looks like for you, whenever I say like ordered or structured or organized, it doesn't mean your pencils need to be color coordinated or organized by, I don't know, how much eraser is left. I don't know. but whatever it looks like for you, if you have like a little bunch of decorations in the corner of your desk like I do, or if you like your desk to be pretty spotless and just what you need to work on it. Whatever it looks like for you. But anyway, organizing and having your surroundings around you the way that makes you happy and the way you like it can kind of help you feel like you're more in control over your life because you're controlling your surroundings. I hope I'm making sense, but having order and structure around you can kind of give support to also feel like you're able to manage your internal feelings better than in a messy space. And I hope I'm making sense with this one. But it's like, it kind of translates with, maybe for me, it's kind of more like, let's say after I clean my room, I'm like, oh, that's nice. My desk looks a whole lot better than it was. And so I kind of get the internal validation of, oh, I did something that makes my life better. And that kind of gives me the internal strength to realize, like, okay, I think maybe I'm more able to manage my feelings and emotions and stress and things like that better than I thought before. And also, having your surroundings being consistent at home, your apartment, your dorm, that matters a whole lot too, especially in a college student life where everything's especially crazy and we don't really have super normal schedules. I mean, our class schedules might be normal, but what we're doing after classes or on the weekends, I mean, it can be crazy, or especially during exam seasons, it kind of throws everything off. And so having that one thing that tends to stay constant, like my room, it can provide some, like, internal stability. And I think it'd kind of help with like, especially if you're newer to college or freshly moving away from home after a summer or coming to college for the very first time and being on your own. I think having familiar surroundings, like maybe some decorations you brought from home or some pictures of you with your family or your friends that you have back at home, it kind of provides like some comfort that even though college is a really exciting time and a wonderful experience, but maybe not everything's changed. And it's not so overwhelming. And that sort of thing is important for people like me, and definitely especially me, because I personally have a very hard time with change. And having something that's constant around me, like my room generally being in order most of the time, that's a consistent thing that makes me feel more regulated better. And having things from home makes me feel less homesick because let me tell you, I am a senior and I've been here for 4 years and I still get homesick. Sometimes I have this one little decoration from home. I've got a few decorations from home that I didn't just like collect while at college. And one of them is this adorable little toad made out of a pretty rock. And I have that sitting on my desk in its one little special spot. And it reminds me of home and my mom. And so whenever I get homesick, I pick it up or stare at it, give it a little pat with my finger. I don't know. It's just sometimes objects can be comforting. But you know what isn't comforting? Whenever I can't see that cute little stone toad because my desk is full of papers I haven't organized. And I literally can't see my desk anymore because there's pillows on one side of it, or some clothes I still need to fold and put away from laundry, papers, all bags, all sorts of things. And so I can't enjoy the things that make me happy in my apartment or my dorm whenever things are messy. And speaking of being happy, cleaning can actually help you release endorphins, which are chemicals in your brain that are really good stress relievers, pain relievers, and they just generally help your well-being and your mood, your mental health. They're very good little chemicals. They're the same things that get released in your body whenever people talk about a runner's high or feeling very good after a workout. And cleaning can give you the same type of boost. And maybe part of it is like the actual physical scrubbing and the little bit of a workout that deep cleaning kind of makes you do. It kind of gives you a workout sometimes. And maybe it's just the feeling of feeling accomplished or, oh, things are so much better. Because I'll talk more about this later, but I have a schedule for myself where I do a little deep clean around the apartment on weekends, the stuff that kind of needs to be done weekly to keep things nice. And it's work, but afterwards, whenever I get to sit down and breathe and be like, and look around my apartment, it's just like I can just, everything is so nice. Even though cleaning doesn't come super naturally to me, like, whenever I get 5 minutes of free time, I'm not like, ooh, let me do my dishes. But, but I feel so much better when things are clean around me. I feel physically better somehow, like the stress leaks out of my body, and mentally better because it's just, I don't know, it's just nice to be in a clean and organized, like, space. And whenever I say clean and organized, I'm so definitely not saying everything's perfect in my apartment or anything. I don't think perfection definitely shouldn't be the goal here. It's just having things nice and generally not like a wreck. And I've so absolutely been there with things being a wreck, but it just feels a lot better for things to be more organized or clean, and I don't know, it just feels a whole lot less stressful. And that kind of links to the last thing I wanted to talk about with like the benefits of cleaning, is that act of actually cleaning can help regulate emotions. I mean, cleaning requires you to slow down, and it kind of makes you forcibly present because you have to pay attention, at least somewhat, whenever you're sweeping to make sure you do it right. Or wiping down a mirror, or wiping down a counter, or washing dishes, things like that. It requires you to kind of slow down and be present, which is calming. Focusing on the present is one of those pieces of advice that gets thrown around a lot. And for me, that's kind of a difficult thing to do. It's not easy for me to just focus on the present and meditate and things like that, even though it is helpful. I'm just not the best at it. But things like cleaning, whenever it's like I have to focus on scrubbing or wiping something down or vacuuming, it's an act with a purpose that keeps me focused, but also keeps me present without a whole lot of extra effort. And like deep cleaning, kind of what I talked about before, like it doesn't just give endorphins and really nice happy chemicals in the brain. It's like that physical work, that scrubbing, can also be a really good outlet, like if you're angry or frustrated or overwhelmed. I mean, I guess it's kind of like a stress ball. Like you get to physically take out energy on something. And cleaning is physically taking out energy on something that's good, something that will make you feel better. I mean, it'll make you feel better not just by helping release kind of pent up emotions, but also like having a good space around you that you feel good living in. And although cleaning isn't my automatic go-to whenever I'm stressed or something, personally I actually avoid cleaning whenever I'm stressed, which is a bad thing. I do not recommend that because I always feel so much better whenever I just keep doing it, even though whenever I'm stressed or overwhelmed, I don't feel like it. But anyway, one of my roommates I used to have in a dorm, she was very sweet, and like her way to relieve stress was cleaning. And I was always like, oh my goodness, I'm actually kind of jealous because before an exam or after an exam, I'd come back to the apartment and she's sweeping or scrubbing down the mirror or rinsing the shower, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, so what stressed you out today? But but that was actually a really good outlet for her that helped her release her emotions and helped us both have a nice space. And so I think my biggest piece of advice for starting to help make your living space nice is starting small. Like, you wouldn't believe how much setting a 5-minute timer at night and just picking up or organizing or wiping down whatever you see just for 5 minutes and quitting after that timer goes off. I mean, doing that just once helps a lot, but let's say you do just a 5-minute pickup every day. I mean, personally, whenever I've done that, that's made a massive change in my space. Like, my bathroom can go from different curling irons on the sink and ponytails everywhere, or my mascara that I never put away, and just things kind of a wreck. And even just putting those things away, maybe it takes maybe 2 minutes if there's a lot of stuff. And then suddenly the sink is clear of stuff. Just setting aside 5 minutes, just a few minutes every day or every other day, whatever your baby step looks like for you, just starting sometimes, even if you just do a 5-minute pickup whenever you think about it, it really helps. And 5 minutes isn't intimidating. Like, whenever I say cleaning or think about cleaning, sometimes I get intimidated of like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be hours or days of work, especially if things are especially messy, where I've definitely been. But just starting small and just baby stepping it, just doing a 5-minute pickup here or there. And something I've had to consciously do, which is a baby step for me, is trying to consciously put things away after I use them. Because, like my bathroom sink I was just talking about, I do tend to just leave things out and not put things away after I use them. Like, this morning actually, I had a hair clip that I was using to like keep my hair up and out of my way whenever I was brushing my teeth and doing things like that this morning. And for a while I didn't put away. I think I might actually still need to put it away whenever I get back to my apartment. But that's something I personally struggle with, is I tend to create mess because I just don't put things away. So a baby step for me that I do is like try to consciously put things away whenever I use them. And college dorms and apartments, they aren't big. Especially like some of the dorms on campus are pretty small. Doing a quick clean or a quick sweep actually turns out to be a lot faster than what it seems like it'll take in my mind. Like I'll think, oh my goodness, sweeping my dorm will take 30 minutes, and then I don't want to do it because it'll take 30 minutes. But actually it takes more like 5. It's just kind of, I don't know. For me, the whole cleaning job can be a little overwhelming and I procrastinate it. But especially the more you do it, the easier it gets. And if you have roommates, you could talk with your roommates about splitting up your responsibilities, or however your roommate relationship works. This highly depends on your specific situation, on how you and your roommates are. Like for some roommates, it's best to like make a list of like whose responsibility is it to take out the trash this week. Or maybe the first roommate is responsible for taking out the trash, and the second's responsible for sweeping, and the third's responsible for dusting. Something like that. Or sometimes cleaning just comes more naturally. Like you both just tend to clean up after yourselves. Working with your roommates and talking things out with them and kind of making a plan of how you both want to do things can help. And maybe if you guys are friends, having a cleaning day can actually be fun where you're both wearing your dirty clothes you can get dirty in, and blasting some music and dancing and sweeping and just having a good time. That's actually another thing I wanted to say, is that cleaning doesn't have to be boring or not fun or hard or like, oh, I have to do that, because that's kind of my initial reaction whenever it comes to I don't want to wipe things down. But it doesn't have to be a chore. I mean, you can make this a fun thing to help your life be better with. Like you can blast some, well, I blast, but also being nice to your roommates. Maybe blast in your earbuds if the walls are thin. But you can play some music, or listen to a podcast. Like listening to music or a podcast really helps the time go by for me whenever I'm just busy. Like busy cleaning, doing things like that. And whenever I listen to music and clean, it's also fun to just I find myself like dancing around or like singing a little bit under my breath, which I very much hope like my roommates have never heard because my singing voice is terrible. But it's just music or podcasts can make it fun. And personally, whenever I clean, I'm listening to a podcast called A Slob Comes Clean, and I actually really like it because, I mean, it's a podcast talking about, like, cleaning, organizing. I mean, the whole thing is just talking about cleaning, and, a lot of the focus is, like, decluttering, and it's specifically, like, targeted for people who have, like, trouble keeping their spaces like clean and organized, which definitely helps me because I do sometimes have trouble with things like that, and it gives me a lot of good advice. But it's also just something keeping me company in my ears while I'm cleaning and organizing, and it's just a nice thing that helps the time go by. And that's the one podcast I've been listening to. I started from the beginning, and I think I'm on podcast 130 something, and there's a whole lot more to go, so I don't know how the more recent ones are, but basically there's just a whole lot out there that you can do or listen to while cleaning to make it more of a fun thing, to where you get to do something fun, something you like while cleaning, and it's not so much of a chore. And I think the last thing I want to talk about is the biggest tip that works for me. I'd recommend trying to start this after you get more comfortable with like baby steps and things, because like I needed to do my baby steps before I could create a cleaning schedule, which is what I want to talk about. I needed to start doing 5-minute pickups, or just start intentionally putting things away, or whatever works for you before creating a cleaning schedule, because like a cleaning schedule for me works great because I'm the type to just procrastinate and forget, and then I can just let things pile up and get messy, and like and I've been a rude roommate before. In all honesty, I've been a very rude roommate before. Because I wasn't keeping things clean. And having a cleaning schedule really helps me with that. But it's like the same thing I try to say with my other podcast, with the other advice I try to give is don't try to tackle 100% of everything and make everything perfect and tell yourself, okay, starting tonight, my dorm is going to be perfectly clean and perfectly organized all of the time, no matter what. Because it's just not realistic, especially for a college student. And that's a whole lot of pressure to put on yourself. And so please take baby steps. Baby steps are very helpful because you gotta crawl before you can walk and walk before you can run. But anyway, being sappy aside, creating a cleaning schedule really works for me. There's a set of just a few things that I do every night, and then on Saturday is my designated cleaning day. And so I'll kind of talk about that. And this is just my own experience, and it can look a whole lot different for you of what you need to prioritize. And my living situation, why I need to clean or what I need to clean, might be different because of just how my apartment is or like how my life goes. So anyway, there's just a few things I do every night, which is the first thing I do is Swiffer my floors. And that's important because I have a cat. And I do brush him, but he's still a cat, so his fur gets places. And so doing it takes like less than a minute to just like quickly, or like a minute, maybe 2 minutes, I don't know. It's just a really quick Swiffer, with like a dry dust pad on the bottom, just to quickly go around the floors and just pick up any stray hair that might have like fallen that day. Also helps pretty good with dust because my apartment, and I think some of the buildings and dorms on campus too, like my old dorm was, but it can just tend to be dusty. I think it's just the way the buildings are, but it helps with dust too. And then the second thing I do is just do a quick wipe of all the counters in the kitchen, because that's important for me because I cook and I eat all my meals either like in my apartment or I pack them with me in my lunch bag. So I use the kitchen a lot and I use it every day. And so doing a quick wipe of the counters, make sure that the kitchen's actually ready for me to use the next day. And then another thing I try to do is I try to do my dishes as soon as I put them in the sink, which is, for me, that's important because it's a whole lot less intimidating to do like 2 spoons and a plate, and that's just from one meal. And that's a whole lot less intimidating than doing 5 plates, 2 bowls, a pan, and like all the utensils and cups you use that day all at once. For me, it just helps a lot, and it helps me and my dishes not turn into like a messy pile that I have to deal with by the end of the day. But if I do ever forget to do my dishes right away, then I make sure I have my dishes clean by the time I go to bed that night, just to keep things clean, especially because I use my dishes so much. I need to have them clean. And for like personal anti-cockroach reasons, like wiping down the kitchen and keeping my dishes clean helps ward off the roaches, because I hope wherever you live doesn't have roaches, but my building unfortunately does. And it's not horrible, but they do exist. And so keeping things clean can help with that sort of problem too, because oh goodness, I'm absolutely terrified of roaches. Oh gosh. Anyway. And then the next thing I do at night is I just go around my room and my bathroom, the rooms, and just do a really quick pick up and put things away. This kind of ties back to what I was talking about myself earlier, is about I have a serious tendency to just not put things away. Like my example of my hair clip I used this morning that is currently still sitting on my bathroom sink. In the mornings, I just tend to not put things away, and that's something I want to work on with myself by intentionally putting things away after I use them. But kind of to help with that is I go around my rooms and I see that hair clip I used this morning and I put it away. Or I put away my curling iron, or I neaten up my desk or put some papers away that I was using earlier or something like that. It just kind of resets my space to where it's ready for the next day. And like it takes like 5 minutes to do that, and it's surprisingly impactful, just like putting things away. It goes from visually looking so horribly messy to, you know what? This is clean and it feels really good. And so if I do that every day, then it gets really easy and really quick. And it goes by really quick, but it's a really impactful little thing I do. And then I've got other responsibilities at night, like packing my lunch for the next day and things, but I think that's about it for the things I do every night. And then doing that every night during the week keeps my apartment in good shape, like with the daily clutter and accumulation of things. But on the weekend, there are some things that really helps to just do once a week. And so I dedicate Saturday because that's just the best day for me. The best day for you to do like a deep clean might be Wednesday or Sunday, or maybe it's best for you to just space it out throughout the week. But for me, it's hard for me to space like longer cleaning throughout the week. So I just like to dedicate like a little bit of time on Saturday to do it. And that's whenever I do the stuff that might take a little longer, like dusting or sweeping the floors and mopping a little bit, or wiping down my bathroom counter and my mirror, just doing like a quick little wipe down and just like general cleaning of things. And it doesn't actually take too long. It takes like a few hours because I have like my apartment is larger than my old dorm I used to be in, so it just takes more time. And I like to go like a little in depth, so it just takes some time, but that's just like a little chunk of the day where I'm like, okay, I'll use this for cleaning. And then the rest of the day, I can do whatever I want, whether that's go out with friends or watch a movie, something. But anyway, designating a specific day for cleaning really helps me. And it really helps me to have a designated day because that means I can't procrastinate it. Because I'm the type where I absolutely could procrastinate and be like, well, I don't really feel like doing it this Saturday, so I'll do it on Sunday. And then that never rolls around. And then I suddenly went a week without doing my cleaning. And that's not a very good thing. So having a designated day where I'm like, I already like pre-dedicated time to taking care of dusting and things like that, it really helps. And it really just makes me feel good afterwards too. The air somehow feels cleaner, like there's less dust floating around, or everything's just a little shinier, and the carpet's vacuumed. It's just a really nice feeling to have like a dedicated day where things get nice. So anyway, cleaning and chores like that might not be the most fun thing in the world, but it can really actually impact your mental health and your grades. Keeping a tidy, clean space can improve your mental health, and whenever you have good mental health, your grades also improve, your focus improves, your concentration improves, and just your general well-being improves. You feel better, and that's kind of the goal, of just to feel better and do well in your classes. And so I do highly recommend just starting out with a baby step, whatever that looks like for you. Whether that's doing your dishes every night or doing a 5-minute pickup whenever you think about it. Just something you'd be surprised at how impactful it really is. And so before we go, I just want to do my little disclaimer and let y'all know that I am just a Texas A&M student. I'm absolutely not a professional or a mental health professional. And at Texas A&M, there's the University Health Services, and I'll put their link in my description, but you can but if you go to their appointment page, that's what I'll link to, and you can click the button for their appointment portal. You can just set up a little appointment to talk about things online. It's really easy, it takes like 5 minutes. And that's something I actually really highly recommend, because the people at University Health Services are truly nice and kind, and they really care about you, and they can help you personally with whatever specific problems you are having, because advice and everything I try to give you and tell you guys is nice, and I do my best, but it's just another level of helpful whenever somebody can listen to your specific story or help you with your specific problem, no matter what it is. No matter if it's something like, hey, I'm really having a hard time keeping my room clean and I'm really overwhelmed by it. They can help with that, or whatever sort of problem you might have. They're really wonderful people, and I highly recommend giving them a visit. And if you're not a Texas A&M student, I do very much highly recommend kind of looking around and seeing what your university offers. They might have a similar support system for you. Or if they don't, then your local community might have some support groups or other professionals you could see. I don't know, it depends on your area, but I just highly recommend that you look into it if that's something you're interested in, or it might help you. And on the side, University Health Services also hosts events and fun things to do. There's a lot of events like every week that I highly recommend going to try and visit. And there's 3 featured ones this week. And the first is a grocery store tour at HEB at Tower Point. And that's on April 8th, 2026. And that is a Wednesday, if you're listening to it this week. Hopefully you are, so you're able to make it to these events. But that event helps you get acquainted with that grocery store and learning to grocery shop with simple, affordable foods that can support your focus, your energy, and your memory. And the second really cool event that's happening this week is something called Counselor Connect Coffee Edition. And that's this Thursday, April 9th, 2026, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And that's where you get to connect with others while drinking coffee. And what's better than that? Talking to people while drinking coffee, the most wonderful drink in the world. And then the last featured event for this week, which is also on April 9th, is part of the nutrition series, which is healthy eating for college students. And it can help you build a balanced, sustainable lifestyle for your health and academic success, which is really important. If you've listened to my episodes talking about healthy eating and nutrition, then you've kind of heard about how important it is for your mental health and your GPA. And the next thing that I'd like to ask you guys about before we go is I would love it if you could comment, like, subscribe, just kind of interact with the podcast. If it has helped you in any way, then I'd love to hear about it. Or if there's something I can do better, or if there's a specific topic you'd like to hear about, like burnout or more about hydration, just whatever you're interested in. I'd love to hear about it from you guys so I can help you to the best of my ability. And also, I just really like hearing from you. And interacting with the podcast with liking and subscribing and things like that, sharing it. That can help this podcast reach other college students who might be able to use the advice I try to talk about on here, and maybe it could help them. And so I'd love to hear about what you guys think about the podcast. And you can reach out to me through social media, and you can find that through my Linktree link in the description, through Instagram or X or Snapchat. And you can also email me at chatgpa.podcast@gmail.com. And I would just absolutely love to hear from you. And the very last thing before we go, and my favorite part of the podcast, is let's take a big deep breath in and a long, slow, deep breath out. I believe in you. You can tackle this day no matter what it brings for you, and I believe in you. We got this. I'll talk to you guys again next week. Bye.